And welcome to Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. I'm Steve Swatt with the Sacramento Report. In the next few minutes, we're going to talk about efforts at the state capitol to give California voters a chance to re-vote on the high-speed rail project. My guest this segment is Andy Vidak, who's a member of the state Senate from Hanford. Thanks very much for being with us.
Glad to be here.
And we should say Hanford is like ground zero just about for the high-speed rail project. As you know, Californians a few years ago voted, narrowly passed, a bond measure. It was, $9.9 billion for the high-speed rail project. There seems to be, I guess, changing political, public opinion on high-speed rail, and a lot of folks, including you, would like to see Californians get another crack at that.
Oh, I would. Yeah, it's just not the same animal that we voted for back then. You know, it was supposed to go 220 miles an hour, and by their own admissions, they're saying it's not. It was supposed to go down existing corridors. There was supposed to be private money invested. I mean, for a host of different reasons, this thing is just not what we voted on. And a lot of polling is showing us today that the majority of Californians want to re-vote on this, and you know the cost has ballooned up to 10 times what we originally voted on. And so for those reasons, I think the folks need to have another opportunity to vote on this.
Well, you say 10 times, but in actuality, isn't it like twice? It's like $68 billion as opposed to the original 30.
Well, even coming out of the Senate Transportation Committee, they're talking here in Sacramento that this thing could cost $350 billion. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And if I was on a Little League school board and I was going to spend $2,000 on the Major League field and I came back and spent $9,000, I'd get voted out. And this folks need to have a revote.
You mentioned polling, and I know the Public Policy Institute of California has done some polling on this, and yes, they do show public support for the overall bond has decreased in the last few years, but it also shows that something like 59% of the public do feel that a high-speed rail program would be good for the quality of life for people in California, and of course it will create a lot of jobs.
It would create a lot of jobs, but I'm here to tell you, I'm at ground zero, and I'm telling you this thing is actually killing jobs. We've got folks in the pathway of this thing that are having a hard time just retaining their own employees because they don't know if they're going to have a job. We've got high unemployment in my part of the state, and that's where they're building it. Do we need the jobs? Absolutely, but not at this cost. This thing has been grossly mismanaged from the very beginning. Folks just have a very poor taste in their mouths. We've been misled. We haven't been told the truth in a lot of different ways, and I'm telling you, from ground zero, this is a bad thing.
Assembly Republicans have come out with a proposal that includes a revote, and they assume if the vote is in their favor, take that bond money, $10 billion, and redistribute that money to other transportation projects that are needed around California. That's something obviously you'd like to see.
Well, I think that makes more sense than carrying on with what we're, a bike path from Madera to Fresno. That doesn't make sense because that's what it's going to be. It's just going to be a big pile of dirt. Federal government doesn't look like they're going to give any more money to this thing, and I don't blame them. So, but we need to get it stopped, and we need to think about how we're going to spend our money. I mean, we need surface storage. We need our our roads, 99, I-5. A lot of these things need to be fixed.
So would you take some of that bond money, if you could, and put that into surface water storage?
Well, I think that's something, again, we have to look at the voters. We have a water bond. We'd like to get on the ballot. This is all up to the voters. We don't just get to pick what we want to spend money on and jack up the price on things. That's just not the way we ought to be doing things. It's up to the people. We were voted on to come up here and represent them to the best of our ability and be good stewards of that money.
All right. Well, Andy Vidak, member of the state Senate from Hanford in the Central Valley, thanks for coming by and talking about this issue. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks to our viewers for watching Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. A reminder, you can see this and other interviews on YouTube, also on My Government on Demand. Have a great day.